UFC 301 Pantoja versus Erceg just ended, and the main event was a brutal robbery. I don't care what anyone says, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. First, let me quick fire through the main card. I didn't watch the prelims, I was busy today, but I watched the main card. Here are my thoughts. First match of the main card, Kyle Borralho versus Paul Craig. Kyle Borralho slumped Paul Craig. I could see that coming from a mile away as I was watching the fight, and I predicted Kyle Borralho to beat Paul Craig. Paul Craig's stand-up is just not there. Zero head movement, head on the center line. The only head movement he had was putting his chin up in the air every time he would move around, or every time a strike would come towards him, he'd move his chin up in the air. He got clipped, and he got slumped out cold in round 2. Anyways, not much to say about that. Paul Craig cannot strike. Up the card, Michel Pereira versus Ihor Potieria. I picked Michel Pereira to win, but this fight should have been a no contest. Here is why, and this is the one I'm going to spend probably the most time on because it's the most important one besides the main event, of course. Michel Pereira did a backflip like he always does onto Ihor Potieria, and he kicked him in the face. And I don't care what anyone says, oh, it hit more of the shoulder or the neck. The commentary recognized it. You watch that in slow motion. Part of the leg clearly hit the jaw. Okay? That's really all you need to prove. As soon as part of the leg connects with the head of the downed opponent, illegal strike, match should be stopped right there. Right there, stopped. Separate the fighters, stand them up. Where was the ref? Ref was some guy named like Fernando, snoozing. Clear as day. I mean, the moment I see a fighter backflip onto another fighter, I'm thinking, first of all, like, what the hell are you, like, I'm watching for a kick to the head. Like, what are you even trying to achieve with that backflip? Right? The moment a fighter does something like that, I'm watching that closely if I'm a ref. And there was a clear as day kick to the head. The ref was like halfway across the octagon. I'm not even joking. I think the ref was like on the other side of the octagon. I think he was on the fence. Like, I'm not going to go back and check. But I genuinely, like, as I'm remembering right now, I think the ref was literally like on the fence on the other side of the octagon. I don't know if you can see my hands right now. He was on the other side of the octagon. Ihor Potieria had just gotten dropped. Where are you, ref? You should be right there in case there's a TKO finish. And this point is further proven in a second, right? So Michel Pereira rocks him with a kick to the head, clear as day, follows up with more strikes. Ihor Potieria tries to get up. He gets caught in a standing guillotine and choked unconscious, taps about 4 or 5 times. The ref runs in to stop it, which adds to my point about where the hell was the referee. So far across the octagon, what are you doing? The guy just got dropped badly a minute into the fight. I'm not saying stand right on top of them, but I'm like, be like 2 meters away. Why are you running to stop the fight? You should be close by already to stop the fight. What are you doing? And then to talk about the overruling it, that it should have been overruled. And they were talking about this. They were talking with the commission. I don't know why it wasn't overruled, okay? I read some of the comments, people saying like, oh, it shouldn't have been overruled because the illegal strike didn't contribute to the finish. So leaving aside the fact that the ref should have stopped it and stood them up, so there would have been no finish. Although I do think Michel Pereira would have won that. Ihor Potieria was not looking good. And he's a can, let's be real. Give Michel Pereira some real competition. But anyways, they should have stood that up, but they didn't. That aside, to say that the illegal strike did not contribute to the finish is mind-boggling. He rocked him with a kick. Hey, geniuses, do you think it's as easy to defend a submission while you're rocked versus not being rocked? No. If I hit you with a massive overhand and then try and pull a choke, it's going to be much harder to defend the choke when your brain is shaking around in your skull like jelly. Why do you think Jeff Neal tapped to Shavkat Rakhmonov when all he had was a standing rear naked choke? What the hell is that choke? Logistically, that should not, or logically, that should not tap anyone out. But when you factor in him being rocked, right before that he got rocked, and he was exhausted. It was round 3 of a war. He got put in this submission. It was too tired to fight it. Too rocked, too dazed, he tapped. Okay? I'm bringing you history. I'm like a law student, bringing you precedent. I'm bringing you examples from the past. Another example. Dustin Poirier submits Michael Chandler in the 3rd round of their fight. Oliveira had Michael Chandler's back for like a minute or two in their fight, in the 1st round. Why did Dustin Poirier submit Chandler with like 10 seconds of back control, whereas Oliveira couldn't do it. Is Dustin Poirier's jiu-jitsu better than Oliveira's? No. What happened was Michael Chandler was rocked and dazed and exhausted, and he was beat badly. He was bloody and tired, and he tapped. Being rocked and dazed factors into your ability to fight a submission, a choke. Getting rocked with a kick, and then more strikes after that. Like, it's not like it was just one kick and then a choke. He got kicked to the head. Imagine how much momentum you can get from that backflip, by the way. It was not like a light touch. He got kicked in the head, punched a few more times. As he was trying to get up, he got caught in a choke. And he couldn't defend it, and he tapped. And the ref was not there to stop it, and the guy still went out cold, although he tapped like 5 times. That should have been a no contest. Michel Pereira would have still won that if there was no illegal strike. I'm not saying the legal strike, is freaking life-changing. Like, it's not like I thought Ihor Peteria was going to win. He was not going to win, but that should have been a no contest. And I would have been happy to get that pick wrong, because that should have been a no contest. But in Brazil, I'm almost positive they just didn't want people to riot or get mad. Because that's all apparently Brazilian fans can do. Because this card, the atmosphere was terrible, by the way. So bad. Tell me why in walkouts, it was like pin drop quiet. You could hear individual fans whistling. You could hear the corner clapping. I'm not even joking. Watch the fight again if you didn't watch it live, or if you didn't notice it while watching it live. I could literally hear the cornermen clapping. You can hear them usually yelling in a normal pay-per-view, but clapping is barely heard. How quiet is it that you can hear the cornermen clapping? It was pin drop quiet in that arena. I'm telling you, I had like 15, 20 friends over for UFC 300. It was louder in my house for UFC 300 than it was in that arena. I would bet on that. There's like no way it was not louder in my house. The reactions were terrible by the Brazilian crowd. Terrible atmosphere. And they gave Michel Pereira just a free win, although it should have been a no contest, because they didn't want to riot. They don't want Brazilian fans throwing stuff into the octagon or whatever, okay? Moving up the card. Let's stop talking about this, right? You get the point. Should have been overturned. 100%. No way it should not have been overturned. Anthony Smith versus Vitor Petrino. This was a short fight. Vitor Petrino just willingly kind of gave up his neck, right? He was winning in the stand-up, decided to change levels, kind of had his head caught a bit, picked up Anthony Smith. As he picked him up, it's almost like he put himself more in a guillotine. Like his head was the guillotine was kind of around like this area. It wasn't too deep. He picked him up, kind of allowed Anthony Smith to shift forward more into the guillotine and wrap his legs around him. And then he slammed Anthony Smith. He got caught in the guillotine, moved a little bit, shifted a little bit, barely tried to push his hips, barely tried to to escape, and then he tapped. And the fact that I know he barely tried to escape and it wasn't like that bad of a choke is because he tapped, and then Anthony Smith was kind of blocking his arm to tap, so he repostured and tapped again. Like, you can watch it. He tapped a bit, and then his arm kind of, his thigh rolled over or something like that. He couldn't tap, and then there was like about 1 second period between the first few taps and the next few taps. So the choke wasn't that bad. It wasn't like I'm about to go out, I have to tap. It wasn't that level. It was like, I don't like this. This is uncomfortable, so I'm gonna tap. And then he was smiling after tapping everything. Why are you smiling? You gave up like a coward to a guillotine to Anthony Smith. You could have escaped that if you wanted to. He didn't want to escape that for whatever reason. I don't know. Like, get in the cage and you'll see for yourself. I'm telling you, he could have escaped that, bro. Or you could have at least tried. Okay? You could have at least tried, right? You're a pro MMA fighter. You were 11-0, and honestly, the most disgusting part of that whole thing was Bruce Buffer saying, and still undefeated Vitor. Are there pre-made win announcements? Is that what we're doing in Brazil now? Like, he said, and still undefeated. Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith is not still undefeated. Like, they were just getting ready for the Brazilians to win. They were doing everything they could to make sure the Brazilians win. Or they were doing everything they could to ensure that they won. And I didn't watch this fight live, but I watched some replays. The point deduction on Orlobai, is that how you say this name? The homo habilis, the guy who looks like he's freaking primitive. No disrespect. The point deduction was crazy. Barely a fence grab. The ref just went, 1 point. Didn't even stop and separate it. Didn't even tell him, next time you do that, blah, blah, blah. You just got 1 point, 1 point. What the hell is that? Anyways, Anyway, so that was pre-made freaking fight announcement and still undefeated. What the hell was that? Vitor Petrino gave up like a coward. All good. What are you doing in the sport? No worries. Move on. Jose Aldo beat Jonathan Martinez. I picked him to win. I feel like he could have gotten a finish. He had him wobbling a bit in round 3, but he decided to take him down and kind of sit and guard for a bit. Whatever, your choice. But he clearly won that 3-0. Good to see the King of Rio back. This was something positive on the card, right? And the Kyle Baralho fight was good too. So 2 positive fights on the card. Jose Aldo, King of Rio, welcome back. I told you he's going to win. All Jonathan Martinez has are leg kicks. Sorry, bro. They're not going to work on Jose freaking Aldo. King of Rio, welcome back. Moving on to the main event. Now we can close this phone. I was reading off my phone for a bit. I just shook my camera. Sorry, guys. Moving on to the main event. Brutal robbery. And I will stand by this. Honestly, I will stand by this. And I have the stats here to help me. Okay? I have the stats here to help me. So round 1. Clear Pantoja. I watched that live. I gave it to Pantoja, right? Like you can see here the stats. Almost doubled him on significant strikes. There were no super damaging shots. So we're going to look at the volume of the strikes. And Pantoja, hit more. He landed more, right? Boom, Pantoja round. Moving on to round 2. Erceg was landing better and landing more. 28-23. Erceg round, clear. And every scorecard they propped up, every Twitter card they propped up, said it's 1-1. Everyone said it's 1-1. But one judge, as you can see here, or is my head blocking it? My head's blocking it. Let me move my head. Oh, wait. Sorry. Let me move my head, I said. Not the whole card. You can see here one judge gave round 2 to Alejandro Pantoja. What the hell kind of judging is that? Round 2 to Pantoja. What did Pantoja do during that round? Anyone and their mom who watched that fight knew Erceg won that round. No disagreement whatsoever. There's no possibility of disagreement. How can you disagree? How can you disagree? The numbers don't lie. Let me open up these stats again for you. 28-23. To the head, 23 of 16. Am I reading the right thing? Yeah, 20-23. 23 of 16. Wait, can you deep that for a second? All of Alejandro Pantoja's strikes, the 23, Steve Erceg landed that much just to the head. Pantoja's strikes were mainly some body shots and some leg strikes, right? And those can be effective, but none of the ones that we saw were really super damaging or looked super damaging. 23 strikes to the head? Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. I don't know how the hell you can score this to Pantoja. How much control time did he have? Although it should not come into the scoring, by the way. Which, let me make it very clear. It's damage-based scoring. Okay? Damage-based. Meaning, damage trumps all. Control time does not matter. Holding your opponent on the ground does not matter. Pantoja had a whopping 1 minute and 25 of control time. I'm just reading this to let you know if the judges could be biased if they wanted to, right? 1 minute 25, okay, we got to give it to Pantoja. It should not even come into play. 23 strikes to the head compared to 16 for Pantoja. Clear Erceg round. Everyone and their moms know that. All right? Moving on to round 3, which is a bit closer. And watching it live, I said, okay, Erceg's doing a bit worse. And you can see the stats, 22-34 Pantoja. But what was the most damaging strike of the round? A huge elbow by Erceg, which cut Pantoja open like about right here, the top of the head. Followed up by a huge left hook. Biggest strike of the round, hands down. It's not about volume, it's about damage. The damage of the shots. Was any shot of Pantoja's in that round as damaging as Erceg's shot? No. There was no shot that could even compare. So that cut, which made Pantoja bleed like a bucket, trumps everything in that round. I know it's hard to fathom, guys. But that cut trumps the whole round. Done. Sean O'Malley versus Peter Yan. I'm giving you more precedent. Why did Sean O'Malley win that third round against Peter Yan? Because he kneed him in the face, and he cut him open right next to the eye, and he had him pouring blood for the rest of the round. And that round was much closer, and watching it live, I saw an argument for 3-0 Peter Yan. I saw an argument for that third round being for Peter Yan. Why? Because immediately after getting cut, Peter Yan returned fire with massive overhands. Like about 10 seconds after getting kneed in the face, you can watch it live, about 10 seconds later, he returned fire with like 2 massive overhands, and then he blocked some more shots and then returned fire with more overhands. And then later in the round, he hit him with more overhands, and then he took him down and he was punching him on the ground. When you take someone down, you need to follow it up with strikes. That's what Peter Yan was doing in that round. That's why I kind of leaned towards Peter Yan in that round, or I saw an argument for Peter Yan winning that round. But that round could easily go to Sugar Sean O'Malley, and Sean O'Malley did get it on all 3 judges' scorecards. Why? Because of the cut which made Peter Yan leak like a fountain. Understandable, although that round was much closer. I'm not here to argue Peter Yan versus Sean O'Malley. That's an old fight. That's 2022. We're not here to talk about that. We're in 2024 now, okay? But I'm just mentioning to you some precedent of examples where a cut trumped the whole round. And there was takedowns involved, and there was more powerful strikes involved. Like there was, like, besides like that knee and like I think another head kick, there was like, those were the biggest shots from O'Malley that round. But Yan, I think, had more shots. He had more powerful shots. Not more powerful, but as in more shots that were powerful. That's what I'm trying to say here. I'm giving you examples of fights where cuts were a big deal in the scoring. How come here, a fight where no punch from Pantoja was really like, oh, he hurt Erceg with that one. There was no punch like that in this entire fight. Erceg cuts him open. He hurts him so bad where all Pantoja, all Pantoja could do for the remainder of that round was press up on him against the cage and rest as he was leaking pints of blood. That is an Erceg round. An Erceg round, easy. We move on to round 4, 31-23 Erceg. Erceg was landing the better shots, the harder shots. Again, bro, look at this, bro. 23 strikes to the head. Alejandro Pantoja landed 23 significant strikes total. 23 of Erceg's strikes were to the head alone. Erceg was landing cleaner throughout this entire fight, honestly. We move on. So round 4, easy Erceg. Round 3, Erceg. Closer. But Erceg because of the damage, the blood. And round 2, Erceg. We'll already have it 48-47. Going into the 5th round, I said Erceg gets this fight. Easy, done. 5th round. Now, 5th round is a bit closer. And because I felt like I missed where the cut came from, because Pantoja did get cut again in this round. I kind of missed that, so I was unsure if Erceg actually won this round when watching it live. But upon rewatching it, and I just rewatched it, by the way. Before making this video, I just rewatched it. Erceg cut him open with another elbow on a different part of his face. I pointed to where the first elbow cut him on purpose, because in round 3, Pantoja got cut about right here. And in round 5, Pantoja got cut about right here. You can see blood pouring down right here. Because it was 2 different locations, 2 different elbows. Because at first I was thinking, when I saw the blood, because I missed the strike which cut Pantoja open in round 5 when I was watching it live. So when I saw the blood, I was thinking, what, did the cut reopen? Like during the grappling exchanges? Like what happened there, right? I was a bit confused. But it turns out Erceg cut him open again in round 5. And look how much more even these strikes are. If there's an argument, and there's a huge argument to make for round 3 being Erceg, although there's like a 12 strike disparity, although Erceg was again landing more to the head. Right? I'm not saying head strikes are more important than body or leg, right? There can be damaging body strikes and damaging leg strikes. But just more often than not, the head strikes are usually like just kind of, they just seem bigger. Like, let's not lie to ourselves here. Anyways, that aside. Pantoja landed more in round 3, but Erceg's elbow cut Pantoja open badly, and there's a big argument to make, and I think a strong argument to make, that Erceg wins round 3. If that's the case for round 3, then round 5 is hands down Erceg. He cut him open with an elbow, and Pantoja really didn't land that much. He held him down on the ground. I'm sorry, bro. Control time does not trump damage. Okay? I'm really sorry. I know it's hard for people to understand this, but control time really does not trump damaging strikes. Okay, bro? 4 of 5 strikes on the ground. Look at these numbers, bro. Round 2, 2 of 2 strikes on the ground. Round 3, 1 of 1. He's landing barely anything on the ground. When you get cut open badly, you need to land something that can even compare to that damaging strike that caused the cut, for there to even be an argument about who won that round. If Erceg cut Pantoja open, but then Pantoja rocked Erceg so badly and Erceg was like stumbling across the octagon, or if Pantoja dropped Erceg, then there's an argument. Okay, sure, Pantoja was bleeding, but then he knocked Erceg down. It's like, okay, who had the more damaging strike? It's like comparing it, you know? But in this case, Erceg had the more damaging strikes in round 3 and round 5. Yet no judge scored it for Erceg. Let me pull up those scorecards just to make sure you guys can see what I'm saying here. Let me move my, oh wait, 1 second. Let me move my camera out of the way for a second. Oh my god. There we go, technology. Like this, just so you can see the full scorecards, okay guys? Two judges are 48-47, and one judge 49-46. All 3 judges gave Pantoja rounds 1, 3, and 5, and this absolute buffoon gave Pantoja round 2. Who's this guy? David, what does it say? Torelli? Who is this guy, and why is he judging fights? Like, go back to working at McDonald's. Like, who is this guy? Who are these refs? Like that guy Fernando who reffed the Michel Pereira fight. Go back to working at Costco. I could have sworn that guy was my Costco cashier this morning. Why is he reffing a fight? Anyways. Not a single judge gave Erceg rounds 3 or round 5. Can you believe that? Not a single judge. Although those were the strikes where he landed the most damaging, those are the rounds where he landed the most damaging strikes of the fight. Rounds 2 and 4 are easy Erceg, and the judge that gave Pantoja round 2 was smoking something and he should be drug tested. That aside though, rounds 2 and 4 are won by Erceg landing more cleaner shots. He landed more shots, he landed the cleaner shots. Rounds 3 and 5, Erceg landed the damaging shots which cut Pantoja open, and somehow no judge said, I think that won in the round. Just absolute bias because it's in Brazil. I'm really sorry. It is what it is. This was a brutal robbery, and I've been talking for 20 plus minutes, but I don't even care. This was a brutal robbery. Damage trumps all in the scoring system. Damage trumps all. I'm sorry, bro, but you cannot hold someone on the ground. Just trying to fix there we go. Trying to fix the positioning of my camera. You cannot hold someone on the ground and win the fight. It wasn't even a dominant position. It wasn't even a body triangle. It was like half guard, and then like barely got mount at the end, and a lot of it was transitions and scrambles. How does that win you the fight? And the same commentary booth who was saying there's an argument to be made that rounds 2, 3, and 4 go to Erceg. Those same guys, after the fight was over, talking about, I think Pantoja's won this fight because of the takedown. Stop saying the takedown won in the fight. The takedown cannot win you the fight. By definition, it cannot win you the fight. Damage wins you the fight. Get the judging criteria in your thick skulls. Who's got these commentators? Who's paying these guys? You don't even know the criteria. Excuse me. I feel like I'm shouting so much I'm going to puke. Another thing I want to mention, because I've made my point clear about the robbery and everything, but another thing I want to mention is, first of all, actually, there's 2 things. One thing is, Pantoja was hitting the groin a lot, and I know this is the one where Erceg recognized it, the ref recognized it, but Erceg let it keep going. But even in round 5, and I just rewatched, if I rewatch the whole fight, I will definitely find more. But in round 5 specifically, there's a point after Erceg's first takedown where Erceg's on top of Pantoja, and Pantoja straight up takes his foot and pushes up into Erceg's cup. And you can go watch this right now. Go watch it back right now. He straight up shoves his foot up, and you can see Erceg's cup move. He's pushing on Erceg's balls. He's pushing on Erceg's groin. And then he reverses into his own takedown attempt. And then he takes down Erceg. I'm pretty sure he got the takedown. Did he get 2 takedowns in this round? What was it? Where is it, man? Where are these stats? Sorry. Yeah, I think he got 1 takedown. Okay, yeah, no. Man, I'm getting confused. Oh, because the last one was a reversal. Right. My mistake. Okay, now everything's clicking together. All good. Because the other one was a reversal. So Erceg took him down one time, and then Pantoja tried to take him down. He was holding him on the fence. And then later in the fight, Erceg tried to take him down, and then Pantoja did a reversal. Right. Anyways, I was saying Pantoja straight up was pushing up on Erceg's groin, on his cup. And then he got up and shot his own takedown. And the ref said nothing. Biased reffing. What the hell was that? And that was... I just rewatched round 5 and I noticed that. Imagine if I rewatched the 4 previous rounds, bro. Just straight up groin shotting. That's that aside. Another thing I want to mention is... Okay, Erceg was shooting takedowns a bit. Why the hell was he shooting takedowns? Why did he shoot 2 takedowns? Look at this. Why did he shoot 2 takedowns in round 5? What the hell was he thinking? Why did he do that? I think, and this is just my conspiracy theory before I go. Not conspiracy, but it's just my theory. Before I go, because Erceg's round did tell him after round 3 that he was down 3 rounds. Don't know why you would say that, because he clearly wasn't. There was an argument it was 2-1 Erceg. Or at least 2-1 Pantoja, right? If you really want to give the 3rd round to Pantoja. Erceg at least won one of those rounds. Round 2, clear Erceg. Round 3, in my eyes, clear Erceg. Don't know how you can tell your fighter he's down 3 rounds. So I think what happened is, he's thinking, okay, I'm losing this fight if it goes to decision. I need a finish. And as a flyweight, you're not going to knock out Pantoja. Like, come on, flyweights don't get knockouts. I'm sorry. He's not going to knock out Pantoja, so he's thinking, okay, let me take him down and, you know, maybe get a TKO or maybe get a submission or something like that because I need to finish the fight. That's honestly what I think. That's just me throwing it out there. I genuinely think he was pushing for a finish like his corner wanted him to, because why the hell are you telling your fighter he's down 3 rounds? He's not down 3 rounds. And Pantoja's corner was telling him he's up 3 rounds. He was not up 3 rounds. What the hell was that? Anyways, if you told Erceg you're up, 2 rounds easily, just make this 5th round clear and you'll win a decision, he would have won. If you told him, listen, just keep it standing, don't shoot, just keep striking, he would have won the fight. There would have been no way you could rob that. Because he already won the fight in my eyes, but there would be no way you could rob that. But instead, they told him you're down 3 rounds, and he was pushing for that finish. He was shooting those takedowns, maybe trying to get a submission, trying to get a TKO, just get on his back and start, pounding him. Pause. But why would you tell your fighter that? I think that's what ruined his mentality. I think that's what made him shoot the takedowns. I think that's what made him get robbed. I don't want to say lose because he did not lose this fight, and I will not count this as a loss. I am 100% convinced I got this prediction right. I got the prediction right. This was a robbery. Brutal robbery in Brazil. And adding to that, it's supplemented by the fact that Michel Pereira got this just robbery win when it should have been a no contest. Should have been overturned, but it didn't get overturned. Orlobai got some BS point deduction. There were some other things I heard. If I watched the prelims, I would probably be talking about them right now, but I didn't. I apologize. The card itself already was looking like a fight night. I'm not watching the prelims. Sorry. But there was some sketchy stuff going on. Don't know how the hell you can honestly give this fight to Pantoja. I really don't. Like, if it's damage-based scoring, it should not go to Pantoja. Anyways, I've been running my mouth for 28 minutes. I hope maybe you guys enjoyed these longer form rants. But that's my thoughts on this terrible pay-per-view. It honestly feels like a filler pay-per-view, right? Between 298 and 299 and 300 and 301 and then 302 and 303. What the hell was 301? What a trashy card. Never go back to Brazil. Such a dead crowd. Seriously, so dead. What the hell are we going to Brazil for? Why are we catering to Brazil? Why are we building a card with only Brazilian fighters and it turns out to be such a trashy card just to please the Brazilian fans, and in the end they don't even get pleased. They're not even happy. They're not even cheering. Why do we go to Brazil? Never go to Brazil ever again. Ever. Don't go to Brazil. Worst pay-per-view I've ever watched in my life. Disgraceful robbery. Just absolutely terrible. Terrible. Terrible crowd. Terrible crowd. Honestly, terrible crowd. I don't want to say worst pay-per-view because there's some fights which are cool, right? But just terrible crowd. Like, the crowd honestly helps you get excited into the fight. Like, when a fighter lands a shot and the crowd's in uproar, you feel like cheering too. But when they're not cheering, it feels like I'm watching an Apex card. Like, it absolutely diminishes just everything that happens. Like, every strike that lands, every fighter that walks out, every decision that's announced, every time someone gets knocked out, and there's like no cheers, you don't feel immersed. You know what I mean? It's why Apex cards suck. I really don't like it. I know you can hear the shots and everything. I don't like it because I like the crowd vibe. I like the cheers. It helps me get immersed as a fan watching it from my house. I can feel the cheers and I can cheer with them and I can feel, one with the excitement. You know what I mean? But when there's just a dead crowd, it's hard to get in the mood, in the mojo. I feel like I'm watching some underground, Bellator fight night. Like, what am I watching when there's no crowd, no shouting? You know what I mean? Terrible experience, honestly. Brutal robbery, disgusting, absolutely disgusting and disgraceful. Thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.